Good morning, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's me, your favorite plant guy, or at least I better be. What the fuck? So I'm back, and I'm gonna continue my video thing here. It's gonna be a couple videos. Like I'm gonna dive deep into this shit, cause I don't know. It's just like. Somehow the message didn't get across. I don't know. So I'm just gonna... I hope that first video was explanatory enough. I mean, I spoke for an hour, like, about just, barfing out everything that's in my brain and what I know and what I think I understand about a subject. So, yeah. Oh, and yes, I did shower today. I don't understand why I get so many messages about me not showering. Like, I don't get it. Like, I do landscaping for a living. Does it look like I really care about my looks? I'm gonna get dirty. Like, fuck off. Okay, so today's video, that's gonna be fun. We're gonna talk about more government stuff. And we'll get into the other stuff, we'll get into religion, we'll get into social things and all that kind of stuff, fun stuff too, Ugh. But right now, today we're gonna continue on the videos about government. So the last video was, your local government, your city councils and such, your county governments, and what they entail, your state government, your federal government, and and a lot of it kind of crosses over. Some things are state, some things are county, some things are federal, some things are city, within that jurisdiction. Like for instance, Ojai has a multitude of agencies that take care of a multitude of things. You have the multitude of water districts. And you have a multitude of, roads that are controlled by the state, county, or federal, city. But I think I was pretty explanatory on that one. But, oh, sorry, I forgot. Hey, here he is. Chance. Hey, say hello. Chance. Say hello, say hi. Oh, whatever. He's looking at a bird. But there's Chance. That's good. Let's maybe get a thing of his tail. No, whatever. Hi, Chance. Be a good boy. Daddy loves you. Or whatever. I'm your daddy. I don't really like that so much. Trump kind of ruined the word daddy for me, but whatever. All right, so federal government. We in the United States have a constitutional form of government. We're a republic. We're a democracy. We direct vote for some things, like the people vote for specific things, and other things you vote for a representative, and the representative then votes in Congress or Senate for those specific things, right? Okay. So the federal government is, and we're getting kind of down to like the school rock kind of shit here. Like, the federal government consisted of three main branches, and its various, he's crying because he sees another dog, and they don't want to say hello, because some people are real bitchy about, like, saying hello and shit. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I don't know. The fuck, I'm sober, kiss my ass. So anyway, federal government. Federal government consists of three main... Oh my God, look at this. He got himself all muddy. Oh, and he's excited too. He is excited. I don't know if you saw the little red rocket there, but he was excited. Anyway, your federal government consists of three main branches. Your executive, your legislative and your executive, legislative, and I'm sorry, I'm spacing on the word, but it's Congress, the House of Representatives, and the Senate. So you have the courts, you have the president, you have the House of Representatives. That is legislative. Legislative, executive, and judicial. There we go. Legislative, Congress, Senate. Judicial, the courts. And executive, the presidency and the cabinet. The cabinet. And all those agencies. And sub-agencies and so forth. So, I guess we'll start with Congress. So Congress has two main bodies. Congress has the House of Representatives, and it has the Senate. Excuse me. And it used to be, back in the day, that the senators were not elected by the people so much. They were elected by the state houses. So you would elect your state assembly person and state senator, and they would then elect a senator for the federal government. But they had since changed that, I believe, through an amendment in the Bill of Rights, I believe. So both chambers are elected directly by the people. So the House has 350 members, I believe, and the Senate has 100. Each state gets 2, and the House is divided proportionally based on population. Now, in many years past, they have increased the amount of representatives, and I think we are, because I don't think they've done that since like the 70s or something. It's been a while. I don't know what he's crying about, but he sees something. I don't know. So, because see, we're over here, we're at this little dog park here. Dog park, ooh, dog park. And I lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, the voting, the Senate. The House of Representatives. Yeah, so the House of Representatives, I feel we should increase the amount of representatives in the House because of the increased population. And because what happens is you have, a lot of people in a certain congressional district, and it's hard for that representative to be representative of all those people, right? And so this way you can, I don't know, I smell something. This way you can be more representative by making smaller districts that can then elect a representative that they feel meets their needs. The Senate, now it's in the Constitution that each state has 2 senators, regardless of population. I think it's time maybe take a look at that one, because you have like Wyoming or Vermont, and they have 2 senators. But California also has 2 senators, and California is not only the 4th largest economy in the world, thanks Gavin Newsom, but we also have a huge population. Thanks Gavin Newsom. And I'm not being sarcastic there. I like Newsom. And his name is Gavin Newsom, not Newscum. I think you're smarter than that. I try to stay away from name calling so much, because that's like Trump's thing. But whatever. So, the Senate. So what happens is once you vote in your local election ran by your local county and state elected election officials, you then get to so those representatives you elect go to Washington. You know, like that movie Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, kind of like that a little bit. Not really, but it's a good movie to watch. It has Jimmy Stewart in it. Any movie of Jimmy Stewart is great, by the way. So what happens is legislation gets, someone has an idea. Like, I have an idea about, mandatory dog poop pickup station should be put in every park, every federal park. And so your representative likes that legislation, signs up for it, puts his name on it, puts it into the House as a bill, and it needs a certain amount of co-signers from other representatives for it to get into committee. And then the committees debate on it. Different committees, multiple committees in most cases, debate it, vote on it, and then it goes to a vote on the floor of the House. Now, all 350 members vote on it. Now, they vote on it. It passes, for instance, and then it goes to the Senate, and it's the same process. It has to be initiated by a senator, then senators co-sign on it. You get enough co-signers, the legislation then goes to committee, the committees debate it. Sometimes it dies in committee in either the House or the Senate, but the Senate is usually considered, from what I understand it, the place where once it goes to committee, it usually dies, because you only have 100 senators. But depending on the legislation, depending on what all kinds of different things, the full moon or how much Trump farted or whatever. That was a joke there. But so the Senate, they deliberate on it. The committee then votes it to a floor vote. It gets passed in the Senate. It's passed in the House. If there's no changes to that legislation from the original House version, they don't need to have another vote in the House again. Otherwise, if the legislation is amended in the Senate and it's changed, it then has to go back to the House to be re-voted on again. And so this is kind of why legislation takes so long to get through. But this process is what you call checks and balances. Checks and balances. You're going to hear that word a lot. Checks and balances. They're important for a government because we're as far as I know, as far as recording this video, we are not an authoritarian type of place like North Korea or something yet. The president cannot look, and the president cannot make a law. He cannot sign an executive order and make a law. Laws are made by the legislative branch. Period. End of story. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The president can, just like I said earlier, the president can have an idea about legislation, and a House of Representative member can then initiate that process, and it gets voted on and all those other things. But the president does not make laws. The president signs the legislation, being the executive branch. He signs the legislation, passed by the House, passed by the Senate, and then it becomes a law. And there are other roles that the Senate and the House have in terms of the checking and balancing of government. They have subpoena power. They can have hearings. They can vote to censure a member of Congress, or they can vote to expel a member of Congress. They can, there are other, I'm getting into the weeds here with it, but there are a multitude of methods in which the Senate and the House of Representatives, by their sheer being, by being bodies elected by the people, can then check and balance other government agencies, other, oversight. It's called oversight, right? Oversight. And that's really important. It's important to make sure you don't have the fox guarding the hen house, as they say. And in the Senate also, the Senate is really important in that the Senate is one that confirms they do that amongst themselves. They elect committee people. You're the head of this committee, you're the head of that committee, yada yada, that this and the other thing. But they, and they also, when there's a new term of Congress, they also pass their own rules and laws and bylaws and what have you. But the Senate is really important in that they vote, they advise and consent the executive branch. They are the body that votes on, it's not the House of Representatives, it's just the Senate that votes on the cabinet for the president. So all the Secretary of State, House and Human Services, Labor, all those, Commerce, they all get voted upon by the Senate. And that's part of the check and balance of the federal government, is that there are powers, no, we're not going that way. There are individual powers vested in those, God damn it, get up. It's always trying to go in someone's yard. Those governments, Chance, you made me lose my chain of thought. So there, the House has certain powers, the Senate has certain powers. Neither one is, unequal than the other. They're supposed to be equal amongst each other, between each other. House does these things, Senate does those things. And, so you don't have power in one specific branch, right? You don't want to have one branch controlling all the other branches. I think you see where I'm going with this one, huh? So, it used to be that this House of Representatives, one of their main powers was the power of the purse, as they call it. The power, they allocate money, they allocate funds. The president, the executive branch puts out budgets for all its different, agencies and entities. And then those budgets get voted upon in the House and the Senate. And I believe it's just the House, actually. And then those budgets then money is allocated through the taxes that the Internal Revenue collects. And then, the money is spent. And they have the ability to then check, hey, we, like when they got Secretary Kristi Noem, as I call Ice Barbie, they, like I said, what are you doing with the money? Why are you spending so much money? Where's all the money going? And so it used to be that's what the House of Representatives do, but the current Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and mind you, the Speaker of the House is like the President of the House, and it's voted on by all 35 members. They all vote, and they choose one dipshit to be the House Representative. Like Nancy Pelosi was, and yada yada. But now the Senate. See, the Senate's a little different. The Senate. And people are so weird, dude. Anyway, the Senate, like I said, it has 100 members, but it actually has 101 members. Because the vice president, who is just randomly chosen by the president, I'm going to choose this blowhard to be vice president, then elected, then he's on the ticket, for the election. You don't really vote for him individually, or her. Him or her. Could be a her someday, hopefully. And he's a tie-breaking vote. He only votes in the Senate unless there's a 50-50 split. And it's happened before. Pretty frequently, recently, because of the issues, issues recently. But I don't know, what the fuck? People are so weird. Like, we're walking down the sidewalk here, and Chance is just, walking. The lady's across the street. She's with her dogs, and Chance is looking at him, and he's just looking at him with his little baby face. And I look over, hi. And she fucking, oh, come on, let's go. Come on. Let's go. Like, what do you, there's nothing to be scared of. I'm just saying hello. He's not, does he look violent to you? Like, and I know he's like being calm, but he's not, he wouldn't bite at anyone. He's not going to be, I don't know. He just wants to sniff a butt. So anyway, oops, I forgot my train of thought there. But yeah, the Senate, the vice president is the president of the Senate, and the House of Representatives has their leader, meaning the Speaker of the House. And then within the two parties, or three if it ever happens, you have each party has their own leader, the minority leader if they're in the minority, the majority leader if they're in the majority. But usually in the House of Representatives, the majority, get down from there, the majority leader is usually the Speaker of the House, because that's the party that's in charge of the House, and so they put their majority leader as Senate, so they don't. Anyway, now, as I said before, when it comes to laws, Congress passes laws. Congress passes legislation. House of Representatives and their committees, the Senate and their committees, they all vote on those things, and there are a myriad of checks and balances to make sure that the legislation is up to snuff, to make sure that the people support it, all those other things, just to make sure. They can't just pass legislation because they want to, or they won't win re-election, And so, now we get into, the executive branch. My favorite. No, I'm just kidding. So in the executive branch is the, obviously the president. But then you have, within that, you have all the cabinet, the secretaries. And they're not like secretaries in terms of like an office secretary. They're secretaries in terms that they're cabinet. They're basically the leaders of each agency. Social Security Administration, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, Health and Human Services, Agriculture, Energy. There's a lot. There's, I don't know, maybe 100, I think, or maybe not. I don't know. But so, and that happens all in the White House. That happens in I believe it's the Roosevelt cabinet room in the West Wing. And the president is obviously the president of that. And cabinet members are elected by the Senate. They can They can be recalled by the Senate and expelled from their position if need be, and it has happened before. I think it should happen again, but that's part of the checks and balances. The whole point of it is you don't have the fox guarding the henhouse. The whole point of it is that you have enough eyes and ears out there so that no one is getting away with something nefarious. No one is being corrupt or any of those other things. That's the part of the checks and balance system. And the executive does what the executive branch does what an executive should do. Signature. Basically. It's a big, glorified signature. Come on. I don't know what you're doing, but come on. And, there's other things the president can do. He does lots of, it really just gets down deep in the weeds here. And I don't really want to explain all that shit. Like, it's not really too important because as far as we're concerned of our conversation today, the executive branch basically signs legislation and controls that aspect of the federal government that